Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about the Charlotte Hornets off-season recap. If you guys didn't follow along, we'll be talking about everything that happened from the rookies they drafted, free agents they signed, players they re-signed, trades that happened, and everything in between. Now, I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you think about this offseason? It was a culture setter. Can't believe that they got Collin Sexton as a second-round pick for Jusuf Nurkić. Now, with that all being said, those comments will be greatly appreciated. Like and subscribe. It'll help out the channel a ton. Now, let's jump into today's Charlotte Hornets video. And they kept the man that I said they needed to keep. Someone that when he played for them, their offense was better and their defense was better. He's a guy who's a two-way player. Tre Mann, 3-year deal. They brought him back. A player that, yes, he got hurt early on in the year. But in the moments that he was there, he showed point of attack defense. Not saying that he's going to be an all defense type of defender, but one that is serviceable and could be a connector between LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller and Kon Knueppel, as well as being a secondary playmaker and a complementary scorer who we don't know what the ceiling or floor is for him, as he was buried behind very talented players in Oklahoma City. And when he started to spread his wings in Charlotte last year, he got injured. So we're excited to see what happens there. Now, there are some new faces over here in Charlotte. Pat Connaughton was acquired from the Bucks. Collin Sexton was brought in from the Utah Jazz, and they signed Spencer Dinwiddie and Mason Plumlee. 2 veterans, maybe 4 veterans, honestly, who are hard workers, put the team first, and have all seen varied success, which is very important because these are going to be the adults in the locker room, the tone setters. We saw what kind of, importance having that leadership, mentorship in a locker room does for a young team. Look at Detroit, especially when they can shoot the basketball. In the draft, they drafted 4 players. Sion James and Ryan Kalkbrenner were their 2 second-round picks. These were older players who could be role players. Ryan Kalkbrenner, one of, if not the best drop coverage big in this year's draft class, who will arguably compete with Moussa Diabate and Mason Plumlee for that starting role. While Sion James, former point guard who can play the shooting guard or the small forward position, great defender, Swiss Army knife. Then Liam McNeeley, who was one of the best prospects coming out of high school, had a rough UConn year, even though he still shot 36% from unguarded threes and 43%, I believe, on catch and shoots, or the numbers might be reversed right there, but still solid numbers. Showed up when he did at the summer league. And Kon Knueppel, absolute dog, looking like the white man version, better shooting version of DeAndre Hunter, which is an absolute weapon. So I think they did really good on that draft. They moved off of, somebody that they got in a trade, which was Vasilije Micić, who was traded back there. They ended up trading him to the Bucks, who he ended up getting bought out. Jusuf Nurkić, as we mentioned earlier, was traded for Collin Sexton and a second-round pick, one of the best steals. Mark Williams was sent to the Suns. They got themselves a great haul there. And Josh Okogie was waived for salary cap purposes. So next up, if we look at their current salary situation, it's just a little peek at where they are. Their total payroll is $176 million, which is solid for keeping them below that first and second apron. I believe they're also below the luxury tax. But LaMelo Ball being the most expensive guy at just below $38 million this year. Miles Bridges, 25, almost $19 million for Collin Sexton. Grant Williams is making just under 14, so is Josh Green, who I love. Josh Green is another player that I hope to have, takes a leap this year. $10 million for Kon Knueppel, 8.4 for Pat Connaughton, 8 for Tre Mann, and 7.8 for Mr. Tajon Saloon. As these salaries are, a lot of them are just their rookie deals, and they have a couple guys on expiring deals like Collin Sexton and Pat Connaughton. So this is a team that has a lot of roster flexibility, especially in terms of cap flexibility moving forward. Next year, they're going to be flushed with cap space if they wanted to sign somebody. So what do I think does this all mean? If you look at the luxury tax line, they're almost $11 million below the luxury tax. they aren't going to be sniffing anything near it to pay it. They're also below the first and second apron by tens of millions of dollars. So if you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, those punitive restrictions aren't going to be a concern for this franchise anytime soon. Now, if we look at the rest of the moves that they may or may not be doing, or things to look at, big picture takeaways from this offseason. Kon Knueppel coming here. Same with Ryan Kalkbrenner, Sion James, and Liam McNeeley, Mason Plumlee, Spencer Dinwiddie. We mentioned Collin Sexton, did we? Pat Connaughton. What do we have from it? Guys who have been in winning situations, guys who are hard workers, guys who are culture setters, culture building blocks. And that's the biggest thing here. LaMelo, and there's not, look at me. I look like Tommy Chong and Jeff Spicoli had a child together. I understand that. I have nothing wrong with, a little bit of pot. But supposedly, LaMelo loves the pot and loves to get everybody baked. And they don't really like that. And allegedly, him and Brandon Miller, from what people have told me, don't get along or don't see eye to eye. As a result, they have brought guys to be the adults in the room and to see if they can salvage probably the LaMelo Brandon thing. Because if they can, that's really high octane offense that they'll have. But if they can't, it'll be an unfortunate series of events. So I think it was smart that they went and got themselves a polished player who can contribute to every facet of passing, defense. He can pass, dribble, shoot, and defend. They were able to flip a man who only played 106, 105 games in his first 3 seasons. Obviously, Mark Williams' package was not the same thing that they got themselves from the Lakers, but it was a future first and good depth, good value for what they had. They added some proven playmakers in Collin Sexton, Spencer Dinwiddie, plus Pat Connaughton can still play, be a 3-and-D guy. They're able to boost an offense that was the second worst in the NBA last year. Bringing back Tre Mann continues to solidify that backcourt depth where LaMelo Ball seems to be hurt every year. And having been able to keep that payroll below the luxury tax while still stockpiling with talent and future picks and bringing in veterans, it's just a smart rebuild that Charles Lee and Mr. Peterson are doing there. So, with all that being said, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of this offseason? Did you guys like it? Do you guys agree with me that the priority this year clearly was just bring adults in the room, seeing what we have? They still have Grant Williams. They still have Sajon Saloon. They still have a lot of pieces on this team that can make them good, but they just have to see it through. And to me, the guys that they have currently brought in are going to be able to, maybe make this team at best be a play-in team. Maybe surprise people and be like the 6th seed in a wide open Eastern Conference. I think Charles Lee is a good head coach. So with all that being said, I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you made it this far into the video, you clearly enjoy this type of content. So subscribing will help out this channel a ton. Like and subscribe. Liking and commenting helps out the algorithm and lets me know your thoughts, as I like to hear what you guys have to say. That's it from me. I'm Cyro Asseo. You guys can see me in the next one.